Come back to the She Emotion Guide channel. Most men believe something that simply isn't true. They think that once a woman sees they've moved on, she'll quietly accept it. No drama, no reaction, no second thought, just a calm goodbye. But the truth is very different, because the moment she truly realizes she has lost you, not just physically but emotionally, mentally, completely, something shifts inside her. And suddenly, she starts behaving in ways you've never seen before. Today, I want to explain what really happens in that moment and why most men misunderstand it completely. But before we go deeper, if you're someone who wants to understand real relationship psychology, make sure you subscribe to the Love Blueprint. This channel exists for men who want clarity, confidence, and the emotional strength most people never talk about. Now, let's get into it. The biggest mistake men make is misunderstanding silence. When she stops reaching out, when she acts like she doesn't care, when she doesn't chase you, most men assume one thing: she never cared. But that's not always the truth. Sometimes what you're actually seeing is observation. She's watching quietly, carefully. She's waiting to see whether this new version of you is real. The man who stopped texting first. The man who stopped explaining everything. The man who stopped rushing to be available every time she called. Because here's the thing. She has seen you pull away before. Maybe for a few days, maybe for a week, but eventually you came back. Every time you came back with the same worried energy, the same emotional attachment, the same pattern. So right now, she assumes something. She assumes you'll break again. She assumes eventually you'll send that late-night message or show up emotionally or fall back into the same cycle. And that's why she waits. But something powerful happens when you don't break. When days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into months, and there's no drunk text. No emotional confession. No desperate attempt to reconnect. That's when it finally hits her. You didn't leave to play a game. You actually let her go. And that realization changes everything, because suddenly she understands something she never considered before. She thought your attention was permanent. She thought you would always be there. She thought your affection was guaranteed. And the moment she realizes it isn't, her entire perception of you changes. Here's something many men don't realize. When a woman reaches out after you've truly moved on, it's rarely because she suddenly discovered how amazing you are. More often, she's testing something. She wants to know if she can still reach you emotionally, if she still has access to your attention. That's why the messages usually sound casual. Hey, how have you been? Or, I saw something today that reminded me of you. They're never direct, because direct communication would require admitting something difficult that she lost. Something valuable, and she's not ready to say that yet. But this is the moment that reveals everything about who you've become. If you respond immediately with excitement, with the same needy energy, nothing has changed, and she sees it instantly. To her, it simply confirms that you were just waiting for her permission to care again, and the cycle restarts. But if your response is calm, brief, emotionally balanced, or if you don't respond at all, something very different happens. She realizes something important. The door didn't just close, it's locked. Not because you're angry, not because you're bitter, but because you built a completely different life on the other side of that door. And that realization is powerful. Let's talk about why this shift happens. Attraction is deeply connected to energy. When you were chasing her, your energy came from a place of lack. You needed her validation. You needed her attention. You needed her approval to feel complete. And people can feel that. They feel the pressure beneath every message, every conversation, every attempt to prove your worth. But the moment you truly let go, your energy changes. You stop asking the world to confirm your value. You start building it yourself. You stop needing someone to choose you because you've already chosen yourself. And that kind of energy is impossible to fake. It's felt instantly. That's when you stop being the backup option in her mind and start becoming the man she actually lost. But here's something even more important. If you stay stuck in the chasing cycle, you lose more than time. You lose respect. First her respect, then your own. Every time you accept mixed signals, every time you tolerate being treated like an option, every time you sacrifice your boundaries just to keep someone close, you teach people something. You teach them how little they have to give to keep you around. And once someone learns that, they rarely treat you like a priority. But the real damage happens internally. You slowly train yourself to accept less than you deserve. And that habit spreads into every area of your life. Your friendships, your work, your confidence, your sense of self-worth. That's the real price. A man who has truly moved on looks very different. He wakes up focused on his purpose. He isn't checking his phone hoping to see her name. He isn't analyzing old conversations. He isn't replaying memories. His energy is invested in his future, his health, his goals, his growth. And if she ever reaches out, again, he responds calmly, not cold, not angry, just unbothered, because she's no longer the center of his world. She's simply a chapter that ended. And something interesting happens when you live like this. Your confidence becomes visible, not loud, not arrogant, just quietly powerful. Because true confidence doesn't need to prove anything. It comes from the man who knows his worth without asking anyone else to confirm it. And that energy attracts something very different into your life. You begin meeting people who respect your boundaries, people who value your time, people who bring peace instead of chaos. That's when you realize something. Letting go was never about getting her back.
It was about getting yourself back.
And if this message resonates with you, if you're someone who wants to grow stronger emotionally, mentally, and personally, then make sure you subscribe to the Love Blueprint, because here we don't chase illusions. We build men who understand their worth. Men who create relationships based on respect, clarity,
and strength.
One day, she may reach out again. She may try to reconnect. But by that time, something inside you will have changed. You won't be the man waiting for her approval anymore. You'll be the man building a life that doesn't depend on it. And that is the moment you truly win. Because whether she comes back or never returns, you've already moved forward. You've already grown. You've already become the man you were meant to be. If this message helped you see things more clearly, stay connected with the Love Blueprint, because the strongest men aren't the ones who chase love. They're the ones who build a life so strong that the right people naturally walk into it. And that journey starts with